seat, jump to hear what I say. Start the car and take me home. Just tonight, I will stay, and we'll throw it all away. When the light hits your eyes, it's telling me I'm right.
No, of course. Thank you. I'm sorry. Again, sorry I'm late. Any artist will tell you there's definitely quite a few obstacles on many different levels. I mean, in making the record, I'm amazed that we actually finished it. I mean, we took 2 years to make it and worked so meticulously on it that when it was finally done, it didn't seem real. And then, you know, now 2 years coming, the record's finally out today, and it doesn't seem real yet. I haven't really processed it. I don't believe it yet. So it's kind of, I guess that's the similarity. We released it in the UK first, so it's been out for a while over there, but to finally have it out in America, I mean, I've been talking about the record for 2 years now. It's enough talking about it. I'm happy that people are finally been able to actually hear the music and let that speak for itself, you know. I mean, that's one of the things that I've had to overcome and still do, I think, is just getting people to give the record a chance to even listen to it, you know, instead of just, you know, just writing it off like actress turned singer. I mean, for me, music's, I mean, I started writing at 5 years old. It's like I would consider myself a musician who also acts on the side, not the other way around. But, and I think people, you know, there's definitely a level of people who learn who you are through a television show or a character. They associate anything you are with that character, and I'm not my character, you know, she's a make-believe person who I'm very, very different from. So I think it's definitely for people who've heard the record after watching the show, it's probably a bit of a surprise because they're like, what the you know? But I am very different than my character, so I mean, I'm a different person. No, it probably always equivalent. I mean, it's all equally as personal to me and equally is torturous, you know, in the process of writing every song. And honestly, every song was done so differently that it's hard to, for me at least, to compare, you know, 2 songs on the record to each other because they came from a different place. They were, you know, written differently, recorded differently. I was a different space in my life. I mean, because we worked on the record for 2 years, so it was, you know, it was a long span. Well, I mean, the easiest way to say it is we didn't have to come up with a title because it's also a song on the record, you know, but it also seemed very fitting for the first record. You know, it's Light Me Up, Start the Fire. It's the first record. It's the first introduction to the band. You know, it's hopefully starting everything up. Yeah, we didn't really go through many. The label and everyone was asking, you know, do you have a title? We're starting to talk about it. And well, what should we call it? So that's when we started thinking about it. And someone threw out Light Me Up. I don't remember who it was, and that's it just kind of everyone agreed immediately. We never really argued. It was the one thing that was probably the simplest thing of the entire making of the record. Well, yes and no. I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of classic rock even before I'd seen the concert. My dad is a big rock and roll fan, so I mean, I'd seen Zeppelin DVDs live and seen lots of live DVDs of rock concerts, but I'd never been to an actual show with that, you know, with that magnitude of production and you know, space to do. I've been to little tiny club shows and things of local bands and stuff, but I'd never been to a rock show that I was actually a fan of the music, knew what I was seeing and everything, and it was a really impactful show for me. I was, you know, I was still very young, and I remember it was just so overwhelmingly loud, and it was definitely a definitive moment where I was like, oh, I want to do nothing but play in a rock band. Like, I mean, I'd been writing songs for a few years at that point, and knew, you know, the genre I liked and things, but didn't really know what that meant yet, you know. And at that point, that's when I was like, oh, this is what I want to do with my life. It's sad. It's sad, but I mean, I think Jack White's great, and you know, we still have the records at least, and I think everything he kind of touches is great. You know, the Dead Weather is very cool. I like the video. Have you seen the video for Treat Me Like Your Mother? Mm-hmm. It's f***ing awesome. Like, I think it's one of the coolest videos ever. So I mean, he's great, and he's continuing to make music, so that's cool. With that show, that was just one of. I mean, all the shows are kind of like that, and it's interesting to see what particular show the press picks up is, you know what I mean? All the shows, the show's been, it's developed the more we play and the more we tour, you know, obviously, but in that particular, there happened to be press in the room, so that's the show that got publicized. But I mean, we love playing there. It's one of my favorite. It's one of the only remaining rock clubs in New York City. Authentic. So it was definitely a really awesome show. One of my top favorite ones, honestly. The venue is just very cool. It's got a good vibe. And where you're playing definitely can impact a show, along with the audience, obviously. You feed off of them. But where the vibe of the room itself can, very much influence how the show goes that night. And it's a rock and roll room,
Just tonight, I will stay, and we'll throw it all away. When the light hits your eyes, it's telling me I'm right.
I started writing songs at 5 years old, so I would consider myself a musician because it's the thing that I chose. It's the thing that I picked, and I've been acting since I was 3, but I was put into it. And I don't mind it. I enjoy it fine, but it's very much a job to me. You're playing a character. You're playing. It's not. I wouldn't call it a passion. I would call it something I enjoy, but it's not even comparable to music for me, which is, it's the thing that kind of kept me sane and saved my life in a lot of ways, and kept me able to continue, and so, hopefully, for me at least, hopefully I'm happy that the records can finally come out. I've been, like I said, writing since I was 5. But you can't put out a record when you're 8, but you can be in a film, So it's something I've worked on. Whereas I've worked on acting on different projects. It's not self-expression. You're playing a character. It's a job, and like I think artists, you have to have other outlets to subsidize your art, and that's what acting has been for me my whole life, is allowing me to develop my craft in music and where I want to be, so I could finally write a record's worth of material that I want people to hear. So that's why the record is finished, and I'm actually wanting people to hear it, is because I've written a lot of shitty songs, but I want people to hear these, I finally got to a point where I was, excited to share it with people and not just, have it be in my bedroom. So hopefully, I can make music for the rest of my life, and I mean, the goal is to be able to tour and make records until I'm dead, and only do that, but who knows? You're the first person who's mentioned you. Well, that's a very personal song to me. I mean, they all are, though, so, the record's very autobiographical in a lot of ways, but it's also written very metaphorically, I think, so every line's not meant to be taken literal, but to me, it's very much about my life. So, I don't know, You is, I don't know, it's a very sad song, I guess that's the simplest way to describe it. You're the first person to ask about it, so I don't have a routine answer, so I'm stumbling up. It's a kind of a song about feeling, lost and sad, and I don't know, it's very reflective, I guess. It's a very reflective song on the record. Yeah, no, but I mean, normally it's hard to describe where a song comes from, because it is simplistic as where it might have started. There's so many things that go into it, and so many emotions and so many ideas. So it's very hard to describe. I'll never actually tell you where the songs originated, because then you'd know too much. I have to keep some things from myself. Yeah. Of course, but I don't think that aspect of it has anything to do with the performing of it or the releasing of it or having other people hearing it. It's the let the cat out of the bag is when you go to, in the writing process, it's like, oh, fuck, okay, I'm here, I'm in this place now, I've let myself go there. And that's where the complication starts, but releasing it and having people hear it, that's a finished piece of work for me. So at that point, it's guarded enough in my mind to allow people in that much. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I think the people around me know better. No, the names have been changed to protect the innocent. We did. Well, we've had multiple sequences of the album just because it's been released with different track listing and different countries. Like Zombie is not on the record in the UK version, but it is here. So we've had to adjust it and change it a little bit per, what the songs are, obviously. But yeah, we definitely gave it a lot of thought. I mean, we went through a lot of different variations. I mean, we went through one thought process of putting them in the way that they were written and telling it in that way, but we didn't end up doing that, obviously. I don't know. I'm happy with the track listing, though. I mean, I think the goal is just to put it, you know, in a way so that the listener goes through kind of a ride when so they can listen to it front from back. And that was the goal with this record is to make have every song be as good as the next one or the last one, but not, be just rewriting the same song, not just rewrite the same thing. So they all came from a very unique and different kind of space. So to place them in an order that would take a listener on a ride that is similar to, opposed to just listening to an individual song, like a single, and have it so you can listen to it front from back and not want to skip a song, and that was definitely part of the thought process in putting the order together. Yeah. I think for me, I think there's a place for everything, the affected, vocals and everything in modern electro pop music. I mean, it fits a specific need in music, So I think that it's okay on certain terms. For me, I never would want to make a record like that because I like the organic. That's what I like about music, is that it's so raw and organic, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's, when the imperfections make it connect, make it emotional. I wouldn't want to take a song that is so personal and then make it sterile. It's supposed to have that. You're supposed to hear the cracks in the voice and the emotion behind every word. But that's just kind of how I approach music as myself. And like I said, that's what I love about music. It's what I love about Bob Dylan and Zeppelin and everyone. And it's being able to do it without anything. So then if you have if you have help and effects and whatever, then it's even better. So for me, that's what I wouldn't have done it any other way. It never even crossed my mind. I had no interest in having my voice be turned into a mechanical sounding record.